All right, this is the Yo, is this sexist pod. David Duane. I'm a freshman and I'm from Buffalo, New York.
I am Sam Just. I am also a freshman. I'm from Toledo, Ohio.
My name's Jay Holubetz. I'm a sophomore and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
All
Excited
right.
to dive into this podcast, of
Yeah,
course.
it's gonna be a good time.
As the title is called Yo, this is sexist. Jay, you said you had a interesting encounter at, was it a business frat the other day?
Yeah, I did. I did. So I attended a informational meeting for a new business frat on campus, and their exec team was 8 members, and I noticed that only two of them were girls. And kind of sparked a little idea for me to write in my diary about women discrimination in the workforce.
Yeah, it's good. And we brought it up how all three of us had actually wrote about some kind of sexism or discrimination um, with women in the workforce. First thing we talk about, um, pay gap. So, like, what do you guys think maybe is the main reason for the pay gap between women and men in the workforce?
Very clear that there's pay gap in the workforce. As to the reason why, I'm not really sure. I know there's been examples where men and women do the exact same work and women are getting paid less simply because they're women. And that seems to be pretty unfair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did one of my diaries on the gender pay gap specifically too. I think the reason just might be like a bias from employers. There's a study that said women make just 71 cents on the dollar compared to men, even though they both have like the same education, both went to like school, but they still just get paid less, even though they're qualified the same as the men.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, they put in the work and effort to get there, and they're just still not getting paid equally.
I researched about like the WNBA versus the NBA, and I found that per year NBA players on average make $10 million, and WNBA players only $150,000, which that pay gap is massive. So I think that I mean, honestly, that really shocked me just to see how big of a difference that is. And I think a lot of that could also, that pay gap could come from the attention that like maybe social media brings upon certain things.
Right. Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And going along with the pay gap, one of the things I talked about in my diary was the like hiring bias. You look at two resumes and one's a girl and one's a guy, and sadly, in most cases, the guy probably has a better chance to get hired, and that's a pretty clear example of hiring bias. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it definitely occurs a couple different like that bias through hiring. Also, I saw like different instances like in promotions, and also just like daily interactions, whether that's like just walking through the workplace and maybe you see people who don't talk to the women as much as they would talk to a guy that they didn't know.
So another topic that I wanted to discuss was leadership positions in the workforce. So going back to my example of the business frat executive board, only having two women on the board, that's an example of women not having an equal opportunity to be promoted to the leadership positions. And I think this relates to the concept of othering that we've been discussing in our class. The one, the dominant, the high positioned men in the workforce continue to other and discriminate against women that do not have equal opportunity to get the same promotions they do. And it also ties into another concept of the subaltern, and because they can't speak out, their voice isn't powerful, and they continue to just be silenced by the high positions of men in the workforce.
I think it's interesting, like what you've said. Like there's no way for them to have a voice without getting like promoted, and if they don't get promoted, then that's just never going to happen. So I think there definitely needs to be changes on maybe how those promotions are decided, whether like I'm sure in the business frat, it was some sort of like voting, um, which might not always be fair based on like population of men versus women in the frat. So I think
Right.
that's important part there.
Yeah.
Going off like the subalternity point, I think like just keeping women down is just it's not good. It's just gonna have an overall negative effect on a business or corporation or whatever the scenario is. Because I mean, women they're also obviously very intelligent. They can be more or yeah, equally or more as intelligent as men. And I think if their voices are silenced, it's just gonna be we're gonna be overall worse off with that because they can obviously be equal with men and do great work for themselves as well. So
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I would have to agree that you know, workforce discrimination definitely affects women's morale, and that could, like you said, cause negative work to go on and affect the business negatively. Just putting people's morales down.
Yeah, I
for
think
sure.
as far as like just the different ideas that women could bring to the table too. Um,
Right.
Men and women are wired differently and bring, like you could have a room full of guys that would have a question asked to them and they would, a lot of them maybe answer this similarly, whereas women could have a completely different response to a question that might not have previously been thought of.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely bring a whole new perspective,
Yeah.
which is great.
What do you guys think are some ways that we could, put a stop to this workplace gender discrimination?
The pay gap is one of the large factors of discrimination because women and men are getting paid uh, not equally for the equal work that they do. So I think
Right.
just creating laws, enforcing laws that kind of make make women and men get paid equally would definitely help in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also like informing certain like hiring managers about like the positive impacts that um hiring women can bring.
Yeah.
Just to show them like maybe give them examples of, hey, look, this company, so and so company, hired 50 guys, 50 girls into this company, and they're like um their work doubled, um just the amount of productivity that they had or something like that, just to kind of get it out there because I know maybe a lot of places like are very closed-minded to that stuff. So I think just opening a couple of doors and just maybe planting that seed there to potentially have them think about that.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with both of those things. Policies, equal pay policies, equal promotion policies. Um, and, it could even be a simple training for hiring managers to, just be informed of other companies that have a high percentage of women and that do very good things in their company.
Another thing I was thinking about as far as potential solutions to this sexism in the workplace. We're going all the way back to the beginning when I was talking about sports and the WNBA. You have people like Caitlin Clark who have taken over like honestly the world of sport in general, and that just shows how like um we have people out there who kind of want to conquer that idea of the subaltern, um, especially for the women. And she has done a amazing job at all of a sudden flipping that social media aspect to all of a sudden like she has the biggest spotlight that the WNBA has ever seen on her and selling out crowds and stuff. So I think it could potentially take like a couple people like her, um, whether that's in the business fields, um, or in just other aspects of ways to really flip the script, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. She's definitely done a great job for speaking out for women and showing like what women are really all about. So
Yeah, she really has, and it like Sam said, ties into the subaltern thing where big figures like her are a voice for, women in general and helping to decrease the sexism in sports or the workforce, whatever it may be. All right, that pretty much sums it up for our Yo, Is This Sexism podcast. The three of us really enjoyed discussing this topic, and we really hope to see some future changes in the gender discrimination
Yeah.
in the workforce, sports, whatever it may be, and hoping that women's, rights can be talked about more and make things equal.
yep, it was a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Enjoyed it. Yeah. That's good.